Good. Okay. I'll step on it. Okay, here we get started. So let's warm up our usual mobility warm up, assuming we all need it. Let's start with a squat and then that side reach. So let's get going. Squat and reach, and then other side. So I hope you had a nice weekend. It was beautiful weather. You maybe got a chance to get outside, and that you were in places where not a bunch of other people were. I saw some people were planning on going to the beach for a picnic, and realizing that so many other people had the same idea. So anyways, it happens, right? It's beautiful and everybody wants to get outside. Let's go ahead and do one more each side. Here. So squat and reach, getting that nice reach, lengthening, and good. Let's do alternating side lunges, and we usually do a good variety of this mobility. And I just wanted to bring up, so I have a podcast. I recorded one the other day about the benefits of cardiovascular training, aerobic training. And so if you've been wondering why we've been adding a little extra, let's go one more each side. Good. Let's go hamstring switch. I think majority of all of you are quite active. Let's do the hamstring scoop. Quite active, and maybe just in the last little bit you've ramped up your outdoor activity. And if I think some of you have mentioned before about how these classes have improved that for you, which I hope is the case for everybody. Let's do one more each side. Even if you felt like you had good cardiovascular endurance, that doing these type of classes are really helpful. Let's do some hip circles, and we do a good variety, and that's really the other thing too, is that you can't only do strength training for overall fitness. You can't only do aerobic training for overall fitness. We have to do a variety of things, and one more each side. That's that mobility and flexibility too. Good. Okay, and let's go into a light jog on the spot, get warmed up a little bit more. And we'll do some of this, and then we'll do a little bit more mobility, and just spend the next couple minutes getting your body nice and warm. All right, let's do just some light jump jacks. Again, we're just getting warmed up, so start off nice and easy, nice and light. So a good variety of movements as usual. And oops, I'm just going to, so these are the low impact high. And let's go back to the jog on the spot. And, yes, what else? I just remember I'm going to put this workout in. There we go. And I think that the most important thing is that you listen to your body and do what you can. When you do the strength training, you're using your whatever resistance you have. Let's go back to the jump jacks. Whatever resistance you have, and with enough repetition, even a light weight can feel like enough effort. And let's go. 3, 2, and 1. I want you to keep yourself moving. You're going to go into a lunge. When you do this lunge, I want you to sit into it, and you're going to open up the same side as your front leg. Just get a little bit of that hip release. So the front of the hip, or the hip flexor, you might even feel that down the front of your thigh. Your quadricep here. Let's go up, over. Excellent. Okay. So I think I was going to say that one of the main, and an example, I had to take some, I didn't want to take the elevator. I didn't want to wait for an elevator up at my dentist. Let's go one more each side. So I took the stairs, 8 flights up. And last one. Okay, feels good. I'm just going to do a squat with that open up, and just again a little bit more mobility. And so while I was doing that, there was a woman and her daughter, and they were having a really difficult time going up the stairs. Like an 8-year-old and the women probably from my age. And let's go to the one each side. And it's a thing, right? If you're not training that aerobic, there we go. And one more time with the jaws on the spot. And then that should get us warmed up. Anyway, so you may not be a hiker. You might not do the stairs at the beach. Maybe that is something to do with the growth grind. Let's go another 3, 2, and 1. Last bit of mobility, arm circles. Anyways, bottom line is if you are tested in your everyday life for that type of training, if you don't train those muscles, and into that cardio, getting into that heart rate training, last one, then and release. So anything else that you might need to stretch, go ahead, and we will get into our workout. So grab some water if you need it. And here we go. All right, so I want you to think about big giant sets of work. I have some notes because I want to make sure I hit all the things I would like to do. So first thing I would like you to do is you're going to do a side squat to a shoulder press. So this is where we grab our weights. I want you to hold the weights up at your shoulders. Let's do side squat, shoulder press, side squat, shoulder press. So we're going to do nice big giant sets of work. So while you're doing your strength training, like now, we are getting warmed up a little bit. Your heart rate may raise up a little bit as we are working big muscles and getting, everything still warmed up. So maybe you're starting with lighter weights, and I want you to take your time, squat and reach. Okay, if you don't like the side squat, maybe you're doing just a regular squat. Maybe if you have an injury with your shoulder or something that doesn't feel quite right, please modify. You can just do the squat alone and keep going. So nice big giant sets of work. You're going to get nice and warm through this entire class while we're still focusing on strength, conditioning, and core. All right, one more each side. Remember, your pace may be a little bit different than mine. That's okay. Last one here. And good. All right. Sometimes I don't give you much bicep curl work, so we're going to go right into that. If you can, you're alternating. And bicep. Alternate your leg, lunge, and bicep. Carefully not swinging. So another lower body movement with that upper body. And good. All right, so before I started the class, I rolled out the mat, and then, of course, Leo, my cat, came running. And what did he do on the mat? He just came and sprawled out. And it kind of looked like maybe we were going to get set for just a loungy kind of workout, stretching, lying on the mat. If we were taking his coaching. So now he's positioned right where he usually is. And he's not in my way, so that's a good thing. Okay. So big giant sets. After this, we're going to do our first round of the conditioning. And I'm going to make sure that you start off nice and easy. If we are jumping, that you give yourself lots of options. I'm going to go one more each side on these. Down and one more here. Excellent. Okay. And then put your weights down. So big giant sets, when we do them, super sets like that, we do a few less. That's why some variations will happen. And there's short little bursts of work, so roughly 30 to 40 seconds, and then we're going to go into a core movement, which will cool us down a little bit, and we're back up again. Okay, so let's go into a jog, speed run, or high knee run. Let's go. So it's our first conditioning. So I want you to start off wherever you need, and it's pretty basic. So lots of different ways to move. So and then the movements. The next time we do the conditioning, it's going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to get you again moving in all directions. High knees, speed run, maybe slow, Maybe it's pumping high. Keep going. Let's do another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. I want you to bring your heart rate down just enough, and you're gonna go into a low plank. So that's on your forearms. So ready? Take your time. If it's too much for you, just recover a little bit. Maybe do a standing core, like a wood chop or something. Ready? Let's go. This plank, 40 seconds. All right. Now, we're gonna go back to the squat, side squat to shoulder press or stationary squat, and the bicep curl. Different conditioning, slightly different core, and then we move on again. Keep holding that plank on your knees or your toes. Breathe, 10 more seconds. Keeping your core tight. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and release. Okay, once we're up and we're down like that, if you know your body needs a little bit more recovery or you don't like those quick transitions, please make sure that you modify. Up onto your feet, we are back to our squat, side squat to shoulder press, or any of those variations, okay? So I'm gonna hold my weights here. Take your time and join me when you are ready. Let's go. Squat and shoulder press. Okay, so we're gonna keep things really dynamic today and keep you moving. So we're never really resting. You know, the core movement is more of an active rest or active recovery, not a full rest. And then, of course, if you need water throughout, even before you know those sets are done, that's entirely up to you. So please remember that. Okay, so again, this can make a big difference depending on the weight you have. Maybe today it's not, you don't have super heavy weights, but you want to focus on the range of motion. Excellent work. Keep going. You can hear me breathing a little bit heavier because I am working. 1 more each side. Squat and reach. Last one. And perfect. Okay, and rest. Should just check to see where my heart rate is and just give you an idea. It's good. Okay, let's do the alternating back lunge with the bicep curl. So I wouldn't say that is in, it's just like my low level of my working range and staying there, which is a good thing. I'm still able to have a conversation. I'm breathing just a little bit heavier. And now I'm starting to feel like it's coming down a little bit. So if you're using a heart rate monitor, then we want to try to keep the class in that like pretty much working range. You'll see some peaks in that conditioning. So you might see, you know, if you look back at your workout, if you're tracking it, you'll see some kind of like maybe like a rolling hill kind of thing, and the heart rate peaks and then it comes back down a little bit lower on the core. Watch that alignment, and so on. So heart rate monitor, yes, or perceived exertion. Let's go 1 more each side. So when you're doing strength on a scale of 1 to 10, last one here, I'm talking about today. Okay, there we go. I realize I'm talking so much. Okay, put your weights down. Maybe that's why I'm really out of breath. All right, now the jog was fine. You can always come back to it. If you're up for it and you feel like your calves are warmed up a little bit more, then we can go into our drop squats. Okay, so that's the variation here if you can. Jog or those drop squats. Ready? Let's go. 40 seconds. All right. So as you're doing this, soft landing, and so back to that perceived exertion. Here, the conditioning, we might get in that 7 to even 8 out of 10 on that perceived exertion. When we're doing strength, maybe we're staying at about that 6.5, 7. On the active recovery, we might feel our effort is in that 5.5, maybe 6 out of 10 of your own effort level. 3, 2, and 1, and keep moving. Okay, so check in. How are you feeling? If you need a little longer cool down, take your time. This plank, if you can, if you want to change it a little bit, a high plank instead of the forearms for 40 seconds. When you're ready, again, listen to your body. Come on down and, take a couple deep breaths. And forearms or on your hands, knees or your toes. And here we go, 40 seconds, starting now. Just remember, this is your workout, so if you're preferring a standing core work, some wood chops, if planks don't feel good for you, crunches, side planks, anything where you're not completely resting, I just want you to move. Breathe. Keep holding. 10 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and release. All right, so a couple of things when you're doing a high plank or regular plank. It should be abdominal work. A high plank, you're going to feel a little bit more on the shoulder stabilizers, but it shouldn't feel strain in your back at all. It should feel like you're able to engage those core muscles. Grab some water, let's keep it moving. Well done so far. All right, so to give you an idea, that was one set of work. Superset, the variations are a little bit different. We're going to see that similar but different movements in our second. All right, so I want you to grab your weights and we're going to take the weights into a wide row. So if you if you start with a wide row and it doesn't feel good through your back, you're going to take it to mid. And here's always the option. So if you can, you're staying in that position, you're pulling it wide. Okay, if you want to, you pull it in and maybe do a couple and stand. Okay, so let's get going now. And you're doing that wide pull. So it's a really good work through the upper back, keeping a nice neutral neck. If you find you're holding tension in your neck, maybe you're looking too high or too low. Maybe you do 3 and then stand. That's totally fine. Let's go here. A couple more. Feel a nice good squeeze. Let's go another about 5, my pace. 4, 2, 1. Okay, I want you to grab one weight. This is a shoulder mobility piece. We haven't done this one too much, but I want you to do just the one leg. This is not an alternating lunge. This is a back lunge with a halo. So we do this every now and then. It's a good core and mobility piece. So watch me. I'm going to hold. I'm going to halo. I'm going to come up. Can you come up to a knee? If you need to, you're tapping. Okay, let's go. Now, I want you to stay nice and still. That's really important. So sometimes we might rock as we're doing the halo, like see how my knee comes out. I want to stay nice and still and lift. Each time it might be slightly different, but overall that alignment set. Now, maybe you want to do a short stride and you don't go that low. That's totally fine. Okay, if this bothers your shoulders, maybe just hold without the halo. It can be a lunge without the halo. Halo without the lunge. We do these combination moves. So I want you to remember what leg you're on. Like I said, we're going to keep things dynamic. This is only the one leg. We're not going to do the other leg until the second round. Shoulders back. Drop. And Let's go another 2 here. So you want to feel that in your glute, the front leg, core is tight. One more time. And release. Okay, go ahead and put your weights down. Remember, so this was my leg I did the back lunge on. Next time I'm going to do the other side. Okay, now on this one, we're going to try the long jump and the shuffle back. And if you don't like it, so I've done this a few times, we can do the long jump and then shuffle or leg jog. I'll go from the side so you can see it again. It's a hold and then a little jog back. If you're not comfortable with that, let's try the step squat, step back. Okay, ready for 40 seconds. Let's go. So you're gonna watch your footing as you're jogging or shuffling back. Please be aware of your space. A long step, hold, and a step out is a perfectly good option. Maybe you don't like the jump. Keep going. Watch your footing. Maybe it's a step and then a little shuffle. 10 seconds. You are jumping. Nice soft landing. Be aware, please, on how that feels. 3, 2, 1, and hold. Nice. So that's a nice strength or power move that can feel like conditioning. Reset for a little bit. You're going to come down to the floor. This is our core movement, and we're back up again. So on this one, I want you to try a side plank. And we're gonna try a rolling side plank. But I think we're gonna do the one side first, and then we'll rest, and then we'll do the other side. So that's how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start with my hands like so. Watch me before you start. So my roll, I'm gonna hold here. I can have my knee down. I'm gonna come back to the center. I'm gonna roll back the same way. If this bothers your shoulders, forget the rolling part and just hold. Okay, let's go. A few each way. And you want to be really careful with this movement. It's not a fast one. I want you to keep your shoulder in check. If it's all shoulder and it feels like it's injured, right? It doesn't feel good doing that. Just hold. Last 2 on this side. Rolling is one solid movement. Last one. Release. Okay, so sometimes that rolling plank, it can bother the shoulder and easily can be modified with that rolling part, okay? Let's go to the other side. I'll just turn my body around. And I'm gonna go from here. I'm gonna roll and come back. Okay. So if you need to, you're on the knee as you roll to the side. Solid movement. One more here. Let's go one more. Release. Okay. I want you to rest for a second. We're back up on the feet. We're into another round. So we're going to do that wide row again, or the mid row. If you feel like you need a sip of water, now might be a good time before you move on to the second set of this superset. And it's a big, big super set. Okay, so this is the wide row again. And remember, you can do a couple, stand up, you can just stay over, elbows wide, but we're still making sure that it feels okay through the neck. I want you to feel that squeeze between the shoulder blades. Okay, the elbows come up, but let's get that extra squeeze as well. That's just a little extra that you're going to get some good benefit from that. Okay, if it bothers you, stand up, reset yourself. Maybe your palms are in. Trying to keep that neutral neck. I know this might be hard. Depends on where your iPad, your phone, laptop, etc. is. But once you start, just make sure you have a good alignment in the neck. Let's go another 4. 3. 1 more. Okay, so if you did the back lunge, only the back lunge, only the halo, etc., we're going to come back to it, but we're going to switch legs. Okay, and then if you did the halo that way last time, you're going to switch. You're going to try the other way. So last time I went here, right? Now I'm going to go here, and halo, come up to knee up. Let's go. If it doesn't feel right, shorter stride. Good option. If you can, you lift that knee, get a little extra balance. Excellent. Okay. So this strength with a little balance might be something that, let's see if you're hiking, maybe that could come in handy. You're on one leg, maintain that strength. On an uneven surface. Oops, there we go. Some core work. More. Let's see. Concentrate on this side. 2 more. 1 more. Release. Okay, put your weights down again. So here is the option on this one. If you can, we're going to do that long jump and that shuffle back. We'll do this. We'll do the same one on this one, or the big step. So this is the 40-second one again. If you don't like that shuffle, maybe you want to do a jump squat alone. That is also fine. 40 seconds. Ready? Let's go. Maybe you already started. Then you get a little extra bonus few seconds. And I want you to be aware of that when you land, you're still upright. Okay, we're moving forward. We may have a hard time stopping ourselves from going forward, but that's the other piece. Your core is engaged. One big step, a little shuffle back, maybe, is where you are today. That is totally fine. 10 seconds. All right, it's good. Don't forget to continue to breathe, never holding your breath. And 3, 2, 1, and that is all. Well done. Okay, this is a little bit different for the core. I'd like you to try a hovering plank. So you're on your hands if you can. And there was one time we did this movement, maybe twice. So I'm going to show you from this angle. So take your time. This is another core. You're going to try a hovering plank. So actually, better if you see on the side. This is a tabletop. Okay, or sorry, not a hovering plank, but a hovering tabletop. So you're on your hands and your knees. Plant your toes in and lift up your knees off the ground. We'll try this. If anybody wants a little bit more, as long as you're stable, we can try the tap. Okay, so that is a lot more effort. If you can try that. And I want you to get started with this now for roughly 30 seconds. Let's go. So try that first. If you tap your shoulder and you start to rock too much, then I want you to just stay and hold. If you're feeling good, pull those abs in. Stable, stable. Might be too much on your wrists, I understand. So you can even do this in this tabletop with a hover. Okay? Something that you try. We'll go with 5 seconds of this. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now That's a bit of a challenge. So the hovering tabletop alone and then adding the tap. So if you're not quite ready for that, that's fine. It's something that maybe you can practice. Stand up on your feet. When you're ready, shake it out and grab some water. So far, so good. 2 sets done. Looking at my, okay, here we go. So just for the record, sometimes I have notes, but then I still change it. But if I'm wanting to change the order, especially when we do those big giant sets, sometimes it's easy to lose my train of thought. So, all right. So this one, actually, I'm going to go lighter weights. This is an upper body only movement. It's a front raise and then the side raise. So this one will be a little bit different the second time we do it, but I want you to keep your both feet planted. You know, if you need to go wide, that's fine. But if you have a slight bend in the knees, your core is tight. We're going to do a front raise and then a side raise. We're going to stay put here. Okay, let's go. When you do the front raise and side raise, if you have a shoulder injury, that might be a bit tricky. So, you know, maybe a side raise isn't going to be a good exercise for you. Maybe it's only here. Maybe the side raise isn't a good movement for you. You can do upright row. Let's remember it's a shoulder exercise, so you might have some other options needed if you have any lack of range of motion that's or an injury that limits you. Okay, so let's go another 2. There's one more each. One to the front, one to the side. Excellent. Okay, release. I'd like you to try this with one weight at your collarbone area. If you don't need the resistance, that's fine. But if you can, we're going to do a cross behind. And this one will also be a bit different. So first round, I want you to do a cross behind together, and we're going to alternate. Cross behind and then together. So if you like, that is something you can add both weights side by side. That's fine, but I do find that when we have the weights, we may have a tendency to lean forward. So if we hold it here, we can stay nice and upright and push the hip out to the side, alternating. I want you to feel that in your side glute. All right, so this is the first round. We're keeping it this way. The second round is going to be just a little bit different. And push the hip out to the side without twisting the knee. Excellent. So far, so good. This causes you any discomfort in your knee, your hip. A couple things, careful you're not twisting. If that still doesn't feel good, then you're maybe doing a stationary squat. I'm going to go 2 more each side. Shoulders back, chest lifted. Another good indication is if you hold it just away from your collarbone, your elbows still face the floor. Last one. And release. Okay, well done. Okay, now we're going to do a side step or a side step or side jump with a straight jump or calf raise. So let me show you the options first. So this is a side step, straight jump. I can do a side step, calf raise. I can do a side jump, straight jump. If you feel up to it, okay? So any variation of those will be a good choice. Ready? Let's go. Maybe you start here. Okay. You want to make sure your calves are warmed up enough. If this feels good, your calves, ankles, feet. Perhaps you do a little jump, even a little side hop. See, that's sort of a half hop, calf raise, whatever feels good. I like to reach my arms up too. So I get low and high and low and high, whether I'm doing any of those options. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Okay, well done. So hopefully that feels good for you. We're going to take it to the floor. This is a dead bug, so where we bring the heart rate down just a little. These big giant sets. Take your time. If you know you need a little longer recovery, see where we're at. And yes, okay. So if you feel okay, come down with or without a weight. This first round, anytime we do dead bugs, I always want you to start with single leg. Make sure that you're engaging your core, alternating. And then if you need to make it more challenging, then you can add both legs. Key is that your back is nice and flat. Okay, if you have a shoulder injury that limits you from bringing that weight over your head, either get rid of it or you can hold it here. Back flat here, those lower abdominal muscles engaged. And let's go. Another 2. Last one. And release. Okay, good. Now we take your time, roll it up. Nice and easy. So the front raise, side raise, we're going to change it just enough. So take your time coming up here. No water if you need it, as we're going into our next set of work. So keep your feet moving and grab some water if you need it. So this front raise, side raise, we're going to work our core a little bit more as we alternate. So 1 to the front, 1 to the side. So we're going to go here, and we come back to the center, and then we switch. Okay, so since we're doing 1 and 1, that could mean you could go a little bit heavier, but I want you to concentrate on, as you switch, your core is engaged. It would be easy to kind of like swing with this motion, right? So to keep everything nice and controlled, that's how we stay still. A little bit of coordination as we go 1 to the front, 1 to the side, down to thighs, and switch. Keep going. Maybe take your feet a little bit wider if you need to. I want you to feel your abdominal muscles, but I don't want you to feel any strain. Bend the elbows. Maybe you have a little shoulder injury. You can bend them a bit. Almost there. 2 more each. So 1. 1 more each. Done. Set. All right, big shoulder roll. Okay, so on this set, if you would like to use both weights, you can. We're not alternating. We're going to stay with the same side. And I think roughly 8 to 10. It's going to be 1 tip. Actually, let's go cross behind first, then a tip. So it's going to look like this. So 1 cross behind, together, and tip. And we're going to stay on that same side. So that's 1. Okay, and then let's go with 8 of them. And I'll go my pace. If you need to go faster or slower, just try to make it even with the other side. So let's go here. So 1. 2, take your time. If that balance work doesn't work for you, if it's not feeling good, you keep your toe down. This is 4. Shoulders back. 5. More tight. Excellent work. 2 more times on this leg. One more. A little bit of wobbly is okay. If you really notice you're losing your balance, then the toe, just a gentle tap of the toe can help. All right, shake that leg out And we'll go to the other side for 8. So press behind and tip. If you've done my classes enough, you know I struggle on the one side, so I may need to put my toe down a little bit more on this. 3. Breathe. Engage. 1. And that is enough of those. Okay, you should not feel strain in your back at all when you're doing those, so be aware. Shape your legs and this conditioning. We're going to do that same side step, straight jump. And again, you can do side calf raise or the straight jump. Ready? 40 seconds. Now. Okay, so again, if you'd like that little extra, this would be a little bit more impact, but we still absorb the impact each time we jump and we land. Okay. So all those options for you. Keep your core tight. Don't do any lateral movement. It would be easy, super easy to end up, making where the pelvis can get misaligned. So we want to keep everything nice and controlled. 3, 2, 1, and stop. Okay, and release. So far, so good. We're gonna go back to the dead bugs. This is your last time doing those. So with or without the weight, 1 leg or 2. Bring the heart rate down just enough. Let's see where you're at. Go by how you feel. If you need a little longer recovery, just take your time. And also with this type of up and down, when we do core throw, there's a little bit more up and down movement. If you have found that you start to get dizzy, then another standing option would take this as a bit of recovery time. Okay. If you are feeling good again, both legs. Keep going. Almost done with these. Deep breaths. All right. Now, we have one more short set of work coming up. Let's go another 2. One time. All right, take your time. Here. Slowly up onto your feet. And make sure that you take your time if you need. I'm going to grab some water here. And now's our time we're doing core throughout, so I don't need to stop yet, but I do want to do a little bit. So I think we haven't done any triceps yet. So let's superset the triceps just for fun. All right. If you can try with both weights, maybe single. Actually, I'll just do single. We're going to do overhead tricep extensions, and we'll start there. We're going to do these, and we're going to do tricep kickbacks, and we're going to do it twice, right back to back, as our time is getting close to the end. Yeah, this is nice and stationary, so if you need to move your feet That's fine. Just keep your elbows facing in front. 2, 4, elbows still facing the front, hinging. Let's go 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then grab your other weight. Tricep kickbacks if you can. This is where we take both feet planted, maybe side by side. Hinge from the elbows, get into that position and reach it back. Okay, so we're supersetting the triceps here. No chest work, but it's okay. We don't always get every single one. And right after we do the overhead tricep again, and the kickbacks, and just squeeze one more cardio conditioning again. Little core and cool down. All right, let's go another 4, 2, and 1. Back to single weight. This is right away, so you might find it's getting a little bit tired, a little more effort, and right back in. All right, so it'll be perfect. We'll do these. We'll do the kickbacks. One last conditioning. Oh, another 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Okay, tricep kickbacks one last time. All right, now this is the last bit of strength. We will squeeze in one more conditioning. Reach back, and for those of you who want to do burpees, we'll do that. And those of you who need something different, the jogging, the side step with the calf raise or jump, drop squat, any of those movements that we did earlier, you can do again. Okay. Number 5, 4, 2, and 1. Okay, go ahead, put your weights down. So 40 seconds. So if a burpee or a modified burpee is not your choice today, then anything that we have done, something that's going to get your heart rate elevated just a little bit for this last 40 seconds there. We'll do our core and then we'll be ready to stretch. So let's go burpees or whatever you like. 3, 2, 1 for 40 seconds. Okay, so again, I'm going to let you choose all those options. You can do drop squats. You can do running on the spot, side step. It's just about moving your body. This last round, we'll do some more core and then we'll cool down. Okay, so if you don't like the burpee, it bothers your hips or your back, those modifications can be easily done. Whatever you need. 5 seconds. And 3, 2, 1, and release. Okay, 40 seconds. Perfect. Hopefully, again, that gets you in that last little bit. I want you to cool it down a little bit. Grab some water here. And when we're on the floor for this last core, we'll be staying on the core for the recovery. And we're just approaching the end. All right, grab some water. Okay, so when it comes to core, it's not always abdominal muscles, so we're going to do a little bit of variety here. I'm going to get you to go single leg glute bridge, so come down when you're ready. Single leg glute bridge, I want you to cross your leg over. And the reason why is because you're going to do some oblique twists combined with this one. Okay, so I'm going to cross my one leg. So I have my knee over here. I'm going to do my glute bridges. When I do the twist, I want to make sure that my elbow stays wide. Okay, think shoulder in the direction of the knee, not just the elbow. Okay, I don't want you to twist it. I want you to twist, but I don't want you to pull on your neck. Okay, so let's do glute bridges first. We'll do try for 10 and then 10 of the twist before we switch. Let's go. 1, 2, keep your hips stable, 3, and 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Fingertips at the temple. Think shoulder in the direction for 10 of these. Twist over. Good. And feel that effort through those obliques. Let's go another 3 here. Obliques. And switch legs. Glute bridge for 10 on this side. Let's go. Now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then let's twist this way. Let's go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, and last one. And I want to just see the time. I think we have time for 5 full crunches if you can. Let's do that. So if you don't like the full crunch, you're just going to do a half crunch if you can. Knees bent. Make sure you pull your core in first. Come all the way up. You can reach your hands up and then down. Let's go 5 of them. Okay, once you hit 5, then we're stretching. Make sure you're using those abdominal muscles. And release about 5 and then release. Okay. You can extend your legs as long as that feels okay in your back. Reach your hands over your head. Deep breath in. If that bothers you back, just keep your knees bent. Bring your knees in. Hands in. Hug your knees right into your chest. And drop your legs to one side. Okay, open it up. Maybe you keep your elbow bent or extend your arm, looking away from it so you can stretch it to the front of the shoulder, chest. Back to the center. Other side. Take it nice and easy first. And then you can extend. You're looking away. Let's go over that to seated. The forward fold while you're seated here. Reach towards your ankles, your shins, your toes. Flex your feet. Feel that down the back of your legs. Always when we stretch, just a nice, gentle stretch. And up onto your feet. And I'm going to do a quadricep stretch. So front of the thigh. Hold on to something if you need. And open it up through the chest. Step behind. And let's push the hip out. Feel stretch on the side of the hip. Let's reach arm up and over. Excellent. Just about done our recovery. Quadricep. Here, find your balance and feel the front of the thigh. Hold on a second if you need. And step behind. Push the hip out. Let's reach up and over. And back to the center. Let's roll the shoulders. And then lastly, arms up. Take a deep breath in, hands behind your ears. Let's open up through the front of the shoulders and chest. Shake it out. Take your hands behind your back. Pull your shoulders down. A little gentle neck stretch. So you just don't force it, just a little stretch. The other side. To the center, bit of rotation. Release your spine, shape your arms. Big shoulder roll. I recorded today's class, so I'm going to go ahead and press the stop. I'm so glad that you all made it today. Let's do that stop first.